God.
That is crazy, dude. What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video with your boy, Thick F87. So today we're gonna actually be putting on this new lip that I have over here. First, I kind of want to explain why we are doing this. So I was out data logging the other day and my splitter flew off at like 120 miles per hour in Mexico. Calm down. So the splitter flew off, which kind of figured that would happen at some point because it wasn't really installed like for high speeds. You should properly have the splitter like connected to the frame or bolted into like the radiator brackets. The splitter was definitely like it wasn't a permanent thing. It was a temporary thing that I knew at some point I probably wouldn't run anymore. The other thing with the splitter is that, well, for one, it's actually full carbon fiber, but it does weigh quite a bit, so it adds a little bit of weight, and it creates a ton of downforce. So if you don't have it bolted up to the frame, it's going to inevitably at some point, you're gonna lose it at some point. Also, it sort of became a pain in the butt to like drive the car around because I was hitting everything just with how low this car already is. The splitter stuck out like super far. And when you have a splitter like that that's sticking out really, really far, you're just gonna hit everything. And the other thing is when we were trying to work on the car, this splitter, it's so deep that you have to take it off anytime that you want to get into like underneath the car. So like even an oil change, it has to come off. Kind of annoying. With what I do, we're constantly working on the car. So like the splitter was coming on and off, on and off, on and off. I probably had it off half a dozen times just in like a month of owning it. I think we've had it on for a month and a half. So it lasted a month and a half. So this splitter, I loved it. I thought it looked really cool. It wasn't necessarily functional, and I kind of assumed that it wouldn't be sticking around forever. It was a cool option to see though. I definitely liked seeing it on the car, and I'm glad that we have photos and video of it being on the car. But for long-term, like everyday use, I don't think it makes a lot of sense, a ton of sense. If it was like primarily my track car and it was the only car that I used and I wasn't constantly underneath it, like working on it and changing things, maybe I would keep it, maybe it would make a little more sense. And it was like properly bolted up and everything. But for me personally, with like, I just want to drive the car and like not have to deal with stuff like that. For me personally, it was a little more than I wanted. So long story short, the splitter decided it flew up like 20 feet in the air behind my car while I was data logging at 120 miles an hour. Thank God it was like super early in the morning. No one was on the road. I have some video from like the moment that it flew off, and then I also have video of me actually finding the splitter in the field. So I will show you guys that video right now. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my God. Holy shit, bro. R.I.P. That thing went full gas into the stratosphere. Let's see if we can find it. I can't believe that just happened. I have no idea where it is. Dude. Well, I found it. It was in the woods. Dude, it's actually not, the splitter is actually not cracked at all. So you can see it literally ripped off my lip. Like my lip is what failed. But the splitter is in one piece. These are like the mounting housings that go into the actual lip. It just pulled all that out. That is crazy, dude. But honestly, dude, the splitter's in perfectly fine condition. Like I could just clean this up and we'd be good. But yeah, so this, so let me show you guys what we got here. So it's actually pretty crazy because the splitter overall is not cracked. Like it's not cracked at all, and this thing flew 20 feet up and off into a field. So it landed on the grass, but it did roll underneath my car before it flew up like a kite behind my car. So I'm surprised. It's actually completely intact. It didn't really crack. I mean, there's some gouges back here, but you don't see any of that. The only part of the splitter that you really see is the front, and I mean, it's fine. Like there's really nothing wrong with it. You could go ahead and run it if you wanted to. This is actually interesting because all of these little metal things that are sticking up, these were actually in my lip. Like these are the pieces that are in my GTS lip, and the screws go into these. So the downforce was like so much that it literally broke off. This is my GTS lip. This is part of my GTS lip. It literally ripped off the bottom of my GTS lip and pulled out all the screw holes and everything. So like that downforce, I mean, it's probably like a human standing on it. Like that's how much downforce this thing was probably creating at 100, 120 miles an hour. I had driven before with this splitter on, and we have gone above 120 in Mexico with the splitter on before, and I never had any issues. Maybe we had just gotten to a point where we had done it enough that it just decided that now was the time it wanted to fly. I was never fully confident in this splitter. I always kind of felt like it's probably gonna lose it at some point. Like I just kind of knew that it would take off. But so that's the deal with that. We're not gonna run anymore. It's just, for me personally, it's a little too much hassle. Honestly, I want to keep things as simple as possible. Like when it comes to this car and like driving, anything that takes away from like the easeability of, is that a word? Easeability? Easeability. Anything that takes away from the ease of just being able to drive the car, anything that actually takes away from that just ends up being more of like a hassle than it is a benefit. Like it looked cool, but it wasn't really worth like the messing and tinkering around with it all the time to just make it work. So I've had this lip over here for a while. It's already ceramic coated, and this is from Souvenir. We're gonna take off the GTS style lip, and I'm going to run this. The GTS lip that's on the car right now, up top is perfectly fine, but obviously it's missing a couple of holes in the bottom, so it's pretty beat up. I could continue running it, like there's nothing wrong with it, but I just wanna try something new. I have this one from Souvenir. It's a super dope lip. The only difference with this one is it goes all the way across the entire bumper, whereas you guys know the GTS lip kind of stops right here. So it just kind of sticks out in front, which always kind of looks strange to me. This one covers the entire front bottom of the bumper. So I'm excited to see how this looks. We're gonna go ahead and throw it on. You guys know how lips go. We'll just take off the old one. I'll show you guys the damage on the current GTS lip, and then we'll go ahead and install this one, use some 3M, some self-tapping screws. We'll be good. There's Boo. So, as you guys can see, the lip from up top, I mean, it's perfectly fine. Like you would never know that there was any issues with this lip. It's just underneath. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the car, and then we will take off this lip. It's really just held on by screws and 3M adhesive. Go ahead and take it off. I'll show you guys the underside. It's pretty gnarly. And then obviously we'll put in the new one. We're gonna have to drill some holes. We'll have to use some screws. We'll need some 3M, and then we'll need to clean the underside of the bumper. So this is pretty straightforward. Any other lip installation video, you guys have seen this plenty of times before on this channel. So I just wanted to show you guys the differences, like right up next to each other. So you can kind of see how the GTS lip just stops short. This one's supposed to go all the way around. I also like how it has this little like step down, so it almost looks like it has a splitter like integrated into it. It's pretty dope. So let's go ahead and slap this bad boy on. This obviously here was from the splitter. So you guys can see what happened. It literally pulled out all of the screw hole pegs. That's those little metal things you guys saw. And just took this whole piece of the lip with it. It looks like when it did pull it out on this side, it cracked all the way through. So there's a crack up front. But from the top, doesn't look terrible. I'd say this one is pretty much done for. This is gonna be a mantelpiece for sure. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and take off the rest of that 3M, and then I'll clean it up with some isopropyl, mock that guy up, make sure the fitment is okay. All cleaned up, ready for application. Side note, just look how weird the car looks without a front lip. Like front lips just transform cars. Let's go ahead and lay on the 3M. We're gonna do shoink all the way across, shoink all the way on here, shoink all the way across. I'm gonna try and do it in just 3 pieces. So application is always a pain in the ass when it's just one person putting it on. Obviously you can't see both sides, so you can't like even it up perfectly. So this is by far the best way to do it. You just peel off a little bit so the whole thing isn't adhered to it, just a touch of it, and you let that red hang off. And then you have a little bit of flexibility as far as moving it around when it's actually on the car. So we'll go ahead, throw this on the car like this, and then if we like where it is, we check both sides, we like where it is, we just pull off all the red, push it up, and we're good. If not, kind of remove it, pull it back around, find the right spot. So I'm gonna finesse this thing onto here and we'll see how it looks. Well, kids, let this be a testament that sometimes things just don't go your way. It just seems that the mold is too far off. The way that it sits on the bumper, it's just not lining up at all. I tried my best to make it work. And, you know, I tried to flex some things, but I honestly just didn't feel comfortable even trying to ride with it. The way that this is working out is this lip is incredibly flat. And this bumper, the bottom of the bumper is not flat on these cars. It has a lot of a slope to it. So none of the 3M was contacting it. So that was my first issue. Even when I put in that one screw and held it in there and kind of moved shit around, it just wasn't working out, man. It wasn't lining up at all. So, I mean, sometimes carbon parts, dude, they're just you get a weird, like, funky mold, and it just doesn't, it's not the right fitment. I've seen this happen a few times, but I will say that, you know, he sent me this to try it out and see if we could make it work. So I'm either gonna assume that this is for a different, maybe it's for a comp or something, or it's just a funky mold and it's just not meant for this car. So boys and girls, we're going lipless for a while. We're gonna just rock it, dude. It's gonna be a little weird. Some people are gonna get triggered, but hey man, that's life. Things don't work out perfectly all the time when you're working in a car. Part of me was like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't even like make the video. And then I was like, why would I do that? Like this is real life. These are things that happen. Like I feel like I'm just like hiding things from you guys then. This mold didn't work out, it wasn't the right fitment. So for the time being, we're just gonna roll without a lip. You know what I'll do? I'll actually let you guys decide what lip I should get next. Comment down below and tell me what lip you wanna see on this car. And I will buy it and I will rock it on this, any lip that you wanna see on this car. Comment down below. Besides the GTS lip, we already did that. The only lip that I refuse to run, the only one that I refuse to run on this car is anything with like a winglet. In my opinion, I think they look kind of tacky, like having winglets on the side, like you're in an airplane. Like when I had the side skirt extensions that had the winglet, dude, they looked okay, but like I was not a fan. Like they were just driving me crazy after a while. So that is my only requirement, no winglets. So I don't want the ones on the side that have the little things go up. I don't want any of that. Flat lips, simpler the better. So you guys decide, go online and find out the names of the lips and just tell me like where to find it. Comment down below, tell me which one you want to see in the car and I'll buy it and I'll rock it. To me, honestly, it's not that big of a deal because I change lips up so often on this car that I really don't care. Right now, we'll go lipless. It is what it is. It's just part of the game, dude. Today was an L. Double L. We lost our splitter, GTS lip was trashed, and this one doesn't fit. When it comes to taking L's like this, sometimes you guys, I'm perfectly okay with taking the L's because I know that with an abundance of L's, there will be an abundance of W's, and that's kind of how you have to think about it. You gotta be willing to accept some L's in order to afford some W's. So there you guys have it. I hope you learned something here today. And sometimes in life, when you're working on your car, things just don't go as planned. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Please do subscribe, comment down below, like this video, hit that bell notification. And just like that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
How much longer can you suffer in this life? How much longer will you suffer in this life?